So, there are three types of resistance to change in organization. First is logical resistance or rational resistance. Second is psychological resistance or emotional resistance. Third is sociological resistance or social resistance. So first is logical and rational resistance. These resistance are the outcomes of disagreement with rational facts, rational reasoning, logic, and science. These arise from the actual time and effort required to adjust to change, including new job duties that must be learned. These are too costly, which might be borne by the common employees and managers. Even though change may be beneficial for the employees in the long run, but the short run cost for change must be paid first. It occurs because of the time and efforts which is needed to adjust to change. So logical resistance to change include rather the following, which are time required to adjust, extra effort to relearn, possibility of less desirable condition, and economic cost of change, questionable technical feasibility of change. Second is psychological resistance or emotional resistance. This type of resistance are typically based on emotion and attitude. It is eternally logical from the perspective of the employee attitude and feelings about change. Employees may fear the unknown, mistrust management, or feel that their security and ego needs are threatened. Even though management may believe that there is no justification for these feelings, they are very rational to employees and such as managers must be dealt with. Psychological or emotional resistance may take place in the following manager, and these are fear of unknown, low tolerance of change, dislike of management or change agent, lack of trust in other, need for security, desire for status quo. So an employee can be resistant to change because of fear of unknown. So when they start to feel this fear of unknown, low tolerance of change, lack of trust in others, so these are the following that might cause resistant to change of a employee. So third is sociological resistant. Sociological resistant may something be logical. It happens when it is seen as a product of challenge to group interests, norms, and values. Since social values are powerful force in the environment, they must be carefully considered. On a small, there is work, friendship, and relationship that may be disrupted by change, then resistance occurs. However, sociological resistance includes the following: political coalitions, opposing group values, parochial or narrow outlook, vested interests, desire to retain existing friendship. So strategies for managing resistance to change. So there are the strategies for dealing with change resistance. So first is logical and education and communication. Second is facilitation and support. Third is participation and involvement. Fourth, negotiation and agreement. Fifth is manipulation and cooptation. And last is explicit and implicit coercion. So let's talk about first about education and communication. So So one of the best way to overcome resistance to change is to educate people about the change effort beforehand. Upfront communication and education help employees seize the logic in the change effort. This reduces unfounded and incorrect rumors concerning the effect of change in an organization. So a leader must be very responsible in educating its employees so that they are able to adopt the change and become resistant to change. Participation and involvement. When employees are involved in the change effort, they are more likely to buy into change rather than resist it. This approach is likely to lower resistance more than merely hoping people were accustomed to change. So, if employees are involved in the challenge or the change rather, there is a big possibility that they will embrace change rather than resist change. And facilitation and support. Managers can head off potentially resistance by being supportive of employees during difficult times. Managerial support help employees deal with fear, anxiety during a transition period. This approach is concerned with provision of special training, counseling, time of work. So it is very important to facilitate and support every employee so that they are able to understand the difficulties in the management, and they will be going to understand about the changes in their environment. Negotiation and agreement. Managers can combat resistance by offering incentives to employees not to resist change. This can be done by allowing change resistors to veto elements of change that are threatening, or change resistors can be offered incentives to go somewhere else in the company in order to avoid having experienced the change effort. This approach will be appropriate where those resisting change are in a position of power. So negotiation and agreement. So it is very important for the manager or a leader to properly negotiate with their employees so that their employees will not resist to any changes in their workplace. So by that, they can manage it by offering incentives to their employees. Manipulation and co-optation. Co-optation is not misspelled. Involves the patronizing gestures of bringing a person into a change management planning group for the sake of appearances rather than their substantive contribution. This often involves selecting leaders for the resistors to participate in the change of effort. These leaders can be given a symbolic role in decision making without threatening the change effort. Explicit and implicit coercion. Managers can explicitly or implicitly force employees into accepting change by making clear that resisting change can lead to losing job, firing, or not promoting employees. So that would be all. Thank you for listening.